What is up, my dudes? Welcome back. Part 2 of the series surrounding eating disorders, disordered eating, and eating disorder recovery. Let's go. Why I'm making this series, kind of a continuation of the last one, is because I am at a point now, 8 years after being out of the gym, where I found a balance with being in the gym again. I'm also in a dance company, and I have a really amazing relationship with food, which I never thought I could, right? This one's gonna be a lot shorter. We're just gonna kind of go into the little middle phase before I went into recovery. I wanted to share a little portion that happened right before my leave off point. When living with an ex-partner of mine, while I was still on steroids, while I was still trying to be a competitive bodybuilder, I remember beginning to go through a spiritual awakening. I remember there was a business trip I went on, and it really inspired me to kind of like look at my life in a different lens. I was already in this really hyper survival mode, not only from the lack of calories, but also I'd been moving around and I was in a relationship that was pretty toxic and my living situation wasn't that great. I was in this phase of really reflecting on what had happened in the year that I had gained a lot of weight after being off stage for the last time. Started to see myself as more than just a body, more than just a bodybuilder. I remember being on this trip and thinking, what are the things that I really want to do that I feel like would really be beneficial for me and my soul that I'm afraid to do? And I made a list of 5 things. One of them was to leave my then boyfriend, to go no contact with him. One of them was to try to be vegetarian for a year. One of them was to get off of steroids, off of gear, and stop being a bodybuilder. And one was to shave my head completely. I'd never done that at that point. I looked at this list and just thought like, wow, this is really important. This is like a really crucial time in my life to take steps in the direction that is going to feel right for my soul. I got home from that trip. My boyfriend and I broke up almost immediately. I was moved out within 2 weeks. I was living on my own for the first time, able to sit with my own energy for the first time in a really long time. I cycled myself off of the steroids and the gear that I was on. I also started doing a lot of research around the animal agriculture industry to understand more about why it was that I felt so drawn to vegetarianism. Within about a month or two, I did enough research and watched enough documentaries that I made the personal choice to actually be vegan. Sort of like an overnight decision after watching one particular documentary called Earthlings. It felt like something that I wasn't doing to restrict myself. It felt like something that I needed to do for my own energetic well-being. So, I had a few big transitions right at the beginning there where I just was like, I need to do these things for myself right now. I need to take care of myself. I need to do what feels best in my body. Over the course of that year or so, I wasn't on social media. I wasn't dating anyone, so I wasn't having sex with anyone. I wasn't using cannabis. I wasn't drinking, and I had just gone vegan. I was still restricting my calories, don't get me wrong. I was still trying to go for like whole food stuff, and I was still trying to get my macros in and everything. I was still lifting at the gym. I was still teaching high intensity cardio classes. And then I stumbled upon raw veganism. This was actually a really big turning point for me. Summer of 2018, I've been vegan for about a year at that point. I did my research heavy duty on raw veganism. They go off of this like 80-10-10 rule, which is like 80% carbs, 10% protein, 10% fat, assuming that the protein that you're getting, the small amount of protein you're getting is from raw plants, and the small amount of fat you're getting is also from raw plants. For 4 months, I was raw vegan. I felt amazing. I felt energized. I lost like 10 or 15 pounds right away. I felt like, oh my God, I'm never gonna eat cooked food again. All it was just raw fruits throughout the day and raw vegetables, scattered throughout, but especially like at nighttime. I was making my own sauces out of raw fruits and vegetables. I was like getting really creative with my food creations, and that felt very fulfilling to me. And I felt like I was kind of in my own little bubble, living in this world of like veganism and raw veganism, and it was really cool. I think the biggest part of that really changed the trajectory of everything I was doing was in the raw vegan world. They encourage you to eat as much food as possible. Eat as many bananas as you want to, like eat as many mangoes as you want, make the biggest salad on the planet. But it caused me to realize how good it felt to eat unlimited calories. Even though it was only raw fruits, only raw vegetables, I felt like a bottomless pit, just like I did when I was binging, right? So like veganism kind of led me into raw veganism, and it kind of led me into this other thing, which was the recovery world. And it started off with me finding vegans who were raw vegan or whole food vegans that were going through eating disorder recovery. And I was kind of like witnessing their journeys through it and understanding that these people had eating disorders, whether it was bulimia, anorexia, binge eating disorder. It felt like something like, oh, well, I'm eating, 6 to 10,000 calories in just fruit and vegetables every day. What if maybe this is something I'm supposed to be doing? Like, maybe this is something that's healthy for me. I was realizing that these people were reaching this place of feeling more in control of their bodies, more in control of their food intake. Like, it seemed like a way for me to find control over these issues I had, especially revolving around food. So fast forward, I kept diving in deeper and deeper into YouTube, just finding more and more people who were eating disorder recovery with whole food. And then I discovered people who had gone through or were going through eating disorder recovery with no food restrictions whatsoever. I think I'd gotten over the fear of eating unlimited calories on raw food, and even on the idea of whole food, like cooked whole food, but like eating anything that I want, like that is scary. But the further I went into my deep dive with it, the more data I found, the more people I found who had actually fully recovered from their eating disorders. It was just more and more proof to me that this was something I really needed to do. I was really terrified of the idea of like letting myself go. Going from being this like kind of icon in the Augusta fitness world. I was already in a little larger body than what the fitness world around this area had gotten to know me as. Thinking about gaining more weight was really scary. I was also really afraid of letting go of binging. I hear all these people who've recovered from eating disorders saying like, yeah, I don't binge anymore. The thought of that was really strange because binging brought me so much pleasure when I would actually do it. Even if afterwards I felt fucking miserable, it got me so high, made me feel so whole and full, even if it was just for a moment between that trance and that waking up from the trance. I was terrified to let go of the binge. So this is the end of this one. Like I said, it was gonna be a little bit shorter. I wanted to document here the moments where I was beginning to choose myself and listen to my body and understand that in order for me to make changes, I could not be doing it from a place of hatred. I had to be doing it from a place of love for myself. In our part 3, I'm going to be talking about my next steps that I did, what caused me to actually decide to commit to eating disorder recovery, and what that process looked like from start to end. And that's it for now. Thanks for being here, guys. I love you.